on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast Sports. As always, I'm your host, Harrison. And to the left of me, we always have our boy, John Boy Media, Johnny, John Boy, Sweet Tits, whatever you want to call him.
I prefer Sweet Tits.
You prefer Sweet Tits?
Yeah.
All right, cool. John, and then as always, we have behind us the boy Ryan doing all the technical stuff. Will, once again, could not be here with us.
Should get him back soon, though.
No, he's not dying. No, he doesn't have terminal cancer or anything like that. He's just away handling some business. He's handling a business.
Look, he's not even in the state right now.
Yeah, he's in another state.
Yeah.
That's just how you know he's
on his grind.
Tapped in. He's grinding. He's our field reporter right now. He's getting it going. So he will be back hopefully next week. But we wish him the best of luck with what's going on. And hopefully he'll be back. But until then, I believe John has the quote this week. I've done the quote the past 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
John's got us the quote for this week. John, lay it on us.
So, I saw a man say this on Twitter. I'm not a fan of this team. He was a Michigan fan.
Oh, okay.
But when a Michigan fan...
Desmond Howard.
No.
Charles Woodson.
No.
Okay.
I don't even know if he went there. I don't even know the guy.
He's just a Michigan fan.
I just saw his Twitter account, and it's a Michigan Twitter account.
Okay, go on.
He said, you can't spell Mel Tucker without elk rectum. So I have to give credit where credit is due. That's a hilarious quote. So that's the quote of the week. Mel Tucker, you have elk rectum in your name.
When you told me that like a few days ago, I swear to God, I about damn near pissed myself. That was during one of our baseball games. But speaking of our baseball game, John, give us our wrap up. We had our last game today. I got him. Get got. Oh, for those that are listening on Spotify, absolutely just murked a fly. Ryan, we should probably cut that post in on Twitter. That was fucking gangster. We just finished our regular season of our baseball team. John, give him the final update.
Guys, this was a tough one today. We lost 11-10. We had the lead going into the bottom of the fourth. It was the last inning, by the way, and it was a rough one.
Time constraints. We don't have
time.
lights.
Yeah. And we had a drop third strike become the tying run. We had a walk-off hit by pitch by the other team. Shout out BK.
Juju Smith-Schuster fan.
Yeah.
Steelers fan as well. So shout out BK, but it was a tough one.
It was a tough one. We as coaches, we take responsibility for that. We own up to it.
We'll come back. We'll come back stronger.
We'll be back and better than ever next year.
Before we get started, you got anything to say to people?
I think I've told them enough.
You think you've told them enough? I mean, the elk rectum.
Yeah.
What else do you need to say? Right. I mean,
people are already.
Ryan, you got anything to say to people before we get started?
No.
Got nothing to say? Wow, you got some real fucking riveting shit back there, Ryan. You're just lighting us up.
Do you know me as a very riveting guy?
I've played Call of Duty with you. Yes.
Okay, Call of Duty's
What?
different.
What's your here? What's your smite rank?
This is
What's your smite rank?
You with the smite rank.
What's your smite rank? Let the people know.
D2.
He's D2. I don't know what that means.
Oh, you see this? Mario Cristobal, no more turnover chain at Miami.
No more turnover chain. Hey.
This was an esports podcast.
Different.
I'd be leading.
You'd be dog shit, kid. You'd be dog water. Dog water?
I wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here either.
Similarly.
No, we'd sit there be MLB the show.
I'd watch.
We'd be MLB the show. We could talk show.
We could talk show.
We could talk show. But speaking of show, let's get right into it. Some more MLB talk. We just had the All-Star break, All-Star weekend happen.
Yes.
Out of everything you saw this past weekend, game, home run derby, festivities, red carpet, everything, what was like a fun takeaway that you had from it? Like, what's something you enjoyed seeing out of it?
I mean, the takeaway is the same takeaway as every year. This is the best All-Star game out of any of the professional sports, and it's not even close. Baseball is by far the best. Had some good moments. You had that weird Padres old guy reaching over the little kids.
Literally shoving a small child out of the way to try and get an autograph from Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
He's on the Padres, so I don't even know why he cares so much, but okay.
At that point, you kind of got to respect it.
Right. I mean,
you got to respect his hustle.
I saw somebody quoted and said, man, this dude's eBay account is dry. And I was like, that's so funny. That's so clown.
For those who follow PFT Commodore on Twitter, he said they need to put a background check on Sharpies.
for male adults or something like that. He's pretty good, but one of the takeaways that I liked was the two takeaways that I liked was from the young guns playing the prospects
A lot of young
game
guys.
or whatever, whatever you want to call it. The prospect game and the actual All-Star game was Hunter Brown, Astros top pitching prospect, and Diaz, I think is one of our catchers, top prospect for the Astros. Both got booed when they announced the lineups.
Absolutely hilarious.
Diaz was with the Cleveland Guardians in his first year when the 2017 scandal happened, and Hunter Brown was at like Wayne State University. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then when you flash forward to the actual game, Framber Valdez and Kyle Tucker getting booed. Neither of them were on the team either, so I thought that was pretty funny. But hey, Justin Verlander got booed, and he was a part of it, so I respect that. I respect the criteria of it.
Harrison, I need to talk to you man on man.
Hey, yo.
Man on man.
All right.
You just gotta embrace this role.
Trust me, I embrace it.
Okay.
I embrace it wholeheartedly. I get it. I know we cheated. We're not the only ones, and I wasn't in the GM. I wasn't anybody in the official system. I just think it's funny when you boo people that had nothing to do with it.
Look, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's like the mindset you gotta have.
Yeah, and you know what? I respect it, but still, it sucks.
The Dodgers weren't trying hard enough. They weren't cheating. So.
Right. Yeah.
And they knew about it.
So that happened.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite takeaways. But you kind of touched base on the first thing I wanted to talk about. MLB All-Star Game, I don't even think it's up for debate. Like, it has to be the best professional sports All-Star break game there is.
Easily. I mean, 3-2 finish. That's the only normal score.
Yeah.
Like, NHL, it's like 12-10.
Yeah.
Nobody even tries in the Pro Bowl. And the NBA, they stopped even doing the
Score
full
totals, yeah, four
game
quarters, yeah.
because it was like 200 to 200 because no one was playing defense. And they still don't play defense. By far the best. You get... It lost a little bit of its luster once you had interleague play, and this wasn't the only time they're seeing each other. And when they made it so it's not the host of the All-Star game, or the World Series, whoever wins.
Which I still think they should bring back.
I agree.
Because it makes it worth something.
But even despite that, it's still by far the best All-Star game. The Home Run Derby is the best skills competition in any of them. It's way better than the dunk contest, the three-point contest.
Now,
those are the only ones that would be up there.
I will say this, though. And the reason it is the best, and I'm full agreement with you there, is because it's the only sport they can play 100% and nothing really go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to run over the catcher. I get that.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to, like, try and...
In the 70s, you will.
Yeah, but Pete Rose, right? Yeah. You're not going to run over the catcher. You're not going to go maybe make a diving, sliding play because you might, hurt something. You're not going to see that, but you're still going to see a pitcher go out and throw his best pitches, and you're going to see guys still trying to hit home runs and make smart base path plays.
Yeah, we're still throwing 98.
Yeah, so it's like they're still trying to play the sport, and rightfully so. And I'm not shitting on basketball, and I'm not shitting on football or hockey. It's this: if you play those 100%, you could get injured. Nobody's going to try and go blindside tackle Myles Garrett. Going to try and blindside tackle, Carson Wentz in the pocket, right? Like you could injure him in a game that doesn't matter. Same thing with the NBA. You're not going to play lockdown defense on LeBron James and potentially get him injured for the second half of the season. So I think it's not really fair to the other teams, but it is indeed still the best one. But another thing that I thought was interesting was the home run derby. Now this is an interesting debate I want to have with you / Ryan as well. Is somebody was talking about the cultural relevance of the dunk contest is more important than the home run derby, but the home run derby is better than every other skills game, whether it be hockey, anything like that. Like when you sit there and you think of the dunk contest, you think of Michael Jordan, you think of Vince Carter, Hakeem, you think of all these crazy dunks people have had, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine. But you don't think of home run derby, you don't go like, oh man, remember when that was like that battle between Juan Soto and Julio Rodriguez? Like I couldn't even tell you who played Pete Alonso last year in the final, or even the year before that, right? But you can still sit there and be like, damn, that was still a fun time to watch, just because it's there is no other skill to it. You just have to hit tanks. Whether you hit a home run 320 feet or 450 feet, it's still a home run, and you're trying to get those points. But when you have a dunk contest like this past year, we're like, dude, that was like a snooze fest. That was the worst thing ever. Just the ceiling for a dunk contest might be higher, and the cultural importance of it might be higher. But the home run derby as a whole is still much more enjoyable.
You make some good points there. I didn't even really think of it that way. The longevity of the home run derby will far outlast the dunk contest.
I could see the dunk contest being not coming back this year.
Yeah. The only argument with like the 90s thing is that I mean, back in the 90s, that was the roid era. You had Ken Griffey Jr., Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds. Like, you had these guys crushing it. And people talk about that Griffey and Home Run Derby and Camden Yards where he hit that warehouse.
Yeah.
I mean, people still talk about that. I mean, obviously, that's not as big as Michael Jordan's.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a niche
from
crowd.
the free throw line,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's a little bit more of a niche crowd. But you still have those moments from that same era, too, with the roid era. So
I just thought it was an interesting take.
No,
I
it's a
liked
decent
the one
take.
year, it was 4 or 5 years ago when it was like Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, and Stanton all from the Yankees. I don't think Stanton was on the Yankees at the time, but
Who's the Marlins, if anything?
yeah, but I think he went there like the next year. I mean, I remember that year. That year was pretty fun to watch. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Yeah.
like I said, I think any year I can sit down and watch a home run derby and be just at least satisfied.
the
right?
year Todd Frazier won in Cincinnati, that was a
Right,
cool
that was
one.
dope. I mean, the year that
Forget who he beat.
Pete Alonso winning back to back is dope too. It'd have
And
been
that
cool
was
if he
cool,
would have
too.
gone a three-peat, right?
Three-peat, yeah.
But I think like either way, for me, I can sit there and watch a home run derby and be like, oh wow, that was enjoyable. But I couldn't watch the dunk contest and be like, dude, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like I didn't enjoy a single bit. Not only a single bit, I didn't enjoy a single dunk of the dunk contest this year.
I don't think I even watched it.
Right. So it's just so bad. But I enjoy the home run derby every year.
Back to the Derby, though, I do wish, I don't know if you guys, I've definitely not said it on the podcast, I don't know if I told you guys, I am anti the clock. I want to go back to the outs. I think it's a stamina contest at this point, and I think that's dumb. I prefer the 10 outs. I don't like that you can earn extra time somehow.
Yeah, when you
I
hit
think if
it,
you hit,
I think
like,
it's when you
3,
hit it
4,
450, two home runs over 450, you get 30 seconds.
Which is dumb. Like,
I'm
just against
You know,
that.
it's also dumb. Kyle Schwarber getting robbed, getting cheated, fucking ESPN miscounting and saying that he lost Albert Pujols when he tied Albert Pujols. Literally, you can see the encounter not go up one more when he hits his 17th or 18th home run. It doesn't move.
See, I was watching this at work, so I thought, okay, maybe I just miscounted. They actually
They
miscounted.
fucked that up, dude. I swear on my mom, they wanted Albert Pujols to go in the next round.
in his,
Regardless, so Kyle Schwarber shouldn't even have been in the close
That's
race
what I
with
was
Albert
gonna say.
Pujols.
You
but
can't-
still.
You can't let Albert Pujols beat you. He's like
he's 150. All
the
right?
dude's a 100-year-old turtle. Come on.
He's a 100-year-old machine, pun intended.
Yeah.
But
You're the 1 seed.
right.
Rise above it.
Be better.
Yeah.
Be better. AL though beats the NL 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Ninth straight year the AL has dominated the NL. This year you had Framber Valdez being the winning pitcher, so that was cool as an Astros fan, and then you had Emmanuel Classier closing the pitch, getting the save.
3 straight strikeouts.
3 straight strikeouts on all cutters, and it was 98 and up.
He's got
all of them.
He's got.
He is disgusting. So I thought that was kind of cool. You know, you got your favorite team, my favorite team. Ryan's team sucks ass.
They do.
They suck. Go Yankees. But I thought that was kind of cool. You know, you get a little bit of that involved, especially with just our fans of the team. But close game this year. Obviously, was really good. Giancarlo Stanton takes home MVP just because he hit a really far home run. I mean, I personally think it should have gone to Byron Buxton because he hit it in the dugout to where somebody can now get a free chance to win beer for a year for Budweiser. So to me, Byron Buxton deserves it.
Oh yeah, he's the
people's champ. He's the people's champ.
You know what? I think this is our first MVP we give out as a media source. The Coast to Coast would like to present Byron Buxton with the All-Star Game MVP.
And also the Coast to Coast People's Choice Award.
Yes.
It's going to Byron Buxton.
So,
he cares about the people. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go hit it in that bullpen.
Yep. So
and I'm going to get somebody a beer for a year. So shout out him.
So congrats to you, Byron Buxton. You are our MVP.
And whenever you want, whenever the season's over, when you're in a dead spot, pop on over. Maybe pop on when you're playing Cincinnati or Cleveland if you play them on the schedule. Obviously, you'll play Cleveland. They're in your division. But pop on down. We'll give you your trophy.
Yeah, they don't play Cincinnati.
They don't play Cincinnati this year?
No, it's the Central's playing the East.
Bastards.
AL.
All right, whatever. So shout out that. I thought that was an interesting one. But any other big takeaways from the All-Star game that you'd like to mention that you feel like you should touch base on?
No, it was just a good All-Star game. I mean, it was pretty typical. I saw one take that the All-Star game's better when it's not in these big cities, and I think that's a good take.
Yeah, I think you get definitely a lot more love.
You get a lot more love,
It also means more. Like, you bring so much more. Like a perfect example was Cleveland getting the All-Star game, this year. Dodgers Stadium, great venue, classic stadium.
Yeah,
it's gonna make its money regardless whether the All-Star game's not there. But when you take a team and you take it to a small city like Colorado last year, or you go to like the NBA and you take it to Cleveland, all those local businesses, all those hotels, they're going to fucking reap in so much money for the city, for the people around it. It just does so much better for the community. And I think that is something where I think you bring up a good point for that.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that take I saw. And, I mean, like, cities like Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati,
Small market teams.
they're going to enjoy that. And I know a lot, for the Futures game, it didn't really sell out. There's people
Which was
there.
so sad.
Yeah. Like, that's selling out in all those cities.
Oh, yeah, 100%. At least it's not, maybe not selling out. You're definitely getting more of a following there.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. But that's all right.
Yeah.
Speaking of the home run derby, Soto beats Julio in the finals off. Julio cranked 31 home runs, like in the second round or whatever. Had a great fucking showing. He's so fun to watch. I hate the fact that he's on a team in my division, but he's so fun to watch. He's probably the front runner to win AL Rookie of the Year. He might even actually do it. I'm hoping Jeremy Pena starts picking it up here because I bet money on him. But Soto beats him. Soto absolutely can rake and hit absolute bombs. No doubt about it. He is the sole reason, and I will die on this hill, that the Astros don't have another World Series because of him in 2019 against the Nationals. He's the sole reason of it. But any big takeaways from the home run derby other than the fact that Kyle Schwarber got robbed?
Oh, yeah. Albert Pujols absolutely whooped his ass. Shout out Albert. Couple of bad matchups. The Jose Juan Soto first round was kind of
Not fair.
it was not fun. But Julio Rodriguez, man, he had like 60 home runs in those first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
I thought for sure he was gonna win after that. He ended up coming just a bit short. But maybe a guy to look out here. He's only 21 years old. Absolutely crushing the home run derby. Maybe somebody to win it in the future.
Oh yeah.
Maybe next year. Maybe he's the odds-on favorite.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah,
it was a fun derby. I feel like it was a fun derby. Kind of like you said. I'd like to have seen maybe Ramirez play Acuna, maybe Pete. I feel like that'd been better. Maybe Corey.
Yeah.
But to have him just go straight against Juan Soto, I felt like it was like, damn, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Just not necessarily saying that it's like a complete lopsided mashup, but like one's definitely like an RBI/double machine, and the other one's like, oh, I'm gonna hit this into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's not necessarily the best, but that's all right. It happens. The best of them.
Yep. It happens.
Shout out Jose for representing. But moving on. And speaking of Soto, Juan Soto was offered an absolute bag of money and several dollars, more money than you and I will probably ever make. Maybe.
I didn't even know I was in this conversation.
Soto declined a $440 million. Let me make sure we understand this here, folks. A $440 million contract for 15 years. Now you're thinking to yourself, "Oh my God, that's a stupid amount of money." And why in the fuck would you decline that? Well, if you actually get in the nitty gritty of it, over 15 years, $440 million, he'd be like the 20th paid player in the MLB. And he, I believe, and John, if you don't mind looking this up for me, I think he's only like 23, 24. So if Juan Soto's 24 years old, right? Or 23. 23 years old.
He'll be.
So let's go 15.
October.
Let's go 15 years from now. We'll round up. We'll say it's 24. 15 years from now, he will be 39, right? He's going to get that money somewhere else. And he will get paid by another team on much shorter deals to where that might be more advantageous, to where he's actually going to play winning baseball. And this is the problem I had with Bradley Beal signing back with the Wizards. And this is the problem I had this is the reason I like Bryce Harper leaving the Nationals and why Trey Turner left the Nationals, Max Scherzer left the Nationals. I want to see these guys play meaningful baseball and winning meaningful games. As much as I hate Juan Soto for the reason that he took the Astros World Series away, is he is now no longer surrounded by any talent. If your next best player is Josh Bell, and Josh Bell's well out of his prime, he's still a solid role player. And now you'd even make the case maybe Steven Strasburg, but Steven Strasburg hasn't been himself since his injuries. So he's not going to be playing meaningful baseball anytime soon. And Nationals are a small market team where they're going to rely on those prospects, rely on those guys to come up through the system, and maybe make another year at it like they did for 2019, right? It was a perfect storm for 2019.
Yeah.
You had Max Scherzer playing out of his mind, Strasburg playing out of his mind, you had Soto coming into his own. Like, you just had all the moving parts, actually. Rendon was playing good. Not Rendon.
Yeah, Rendon.
Was Rendon?
Yeah.
And Suzuki. Like, you had these guys playing meaningful and playing well. You're just not having that anymore. So I'm happy he declined it. And now, because he declined it, the Nationals are opening to trades.
Mm-hmm.
So let's be honest. Let's discuss. What do you think it's going to take to get Juan Soto? And what do you think the trade value is actually for him?
So the problem with this is that this is a situation where it's only going to be the big market teams here.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the Dodgers. It's going to be the Red Sox, the Mets, the Yankees. It's going to be one of those hard hitters. And as a baseball fan, that's kind of frustrating seeing that. I mean, I get 15 years is a long time. But, I mean,
That's his whole career.
Yeah. I mean, we almost canceled the season because these guys aren't getting paid enough.
Yeah.
And to see that number turned down, it's just frustrating as a baseball fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And
we'll
like
see
I
where
said,
it
I know the
goes.
440
Yeah.
looks huge, but
Yeah.
like I said, he'd be the 20th highest paid player.
Yeah,
So,
and I understand.
so
Yeah.
it's not like he's the issue, right?
No,
like,
it's more the MLBPA. I'm
Yeah.
a little upset here. It's not Juan Soto personally. I mean, I think he ends up going to the Dodgers, maybe the Yankees.
see, I have the Dodgers as my
You
pick.
think it's the Dodgers? I think
I
that's
think-
my first.
I think the Dodgers
Yeah.
have enough young guys.
And their farm system's
Their
loaded.
farm system, young guys.
Yeah.
But I think, and I saw, speculation here. I'm thinking 3 to 4 top probably 100 prospects, or their best prospects, whatever your farm system is.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that's going to be able to replace him or play immediately now and be successful, and then maybe a potential guy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, so let's just do the Astros, just because I know them really well.
Okay.
So you do their farm system, you do Hunter Brown, Pedro Leon, Diaz, and Corey Lee. Fuck it. Just throw those guys in there. Doesn't matter their position. Those are probably our best 4 prospects. Maybe throw in Forrest Whitney right there as well. Then you go, okay, send somebody that can play right away. I'm thinking Jake Myers, right? Young dude, definitely can be your starting outfielder, something like that. And then a guy that can maybe has a big upswing, Luis Garcia, Framber Valdez, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like that's what it's going to take. If you look at like the Reds, I know the Reds don't have a lot.
They have
like
some in the farm.
I'm saying like a lot of like ready now guys. You send Jonathan India would have to go.
Yeah.
You take their 4 best prospects, whoever it is, maybe a 5. You send Luis Castillo, Jonathan India, and maybe Joey Votto, right? And
Brandon
you just
Drury.
or like Brandon Drury or Tyler Stevenson, right? Like it's gonna be one of those 2 to 3 guys that can play right now. Now the Dodgers, here's who I think they could send. You send their 4 best prospects. I know Bobby Miller,
Yeah, I was gonna bring him up.
fucking disgusting young gun. They obviously have a ton of other guys that they can send as well. I'm not familiar with their farm system as much as everybody else.
Yeah,
But
but they do have a
they've
deep
got-
farm system.
They've got a deep farm system. I know they have 3 or 4 in the top 100 on the MLB pipeline.
Plus their roster now is loaded too.
Roster's
so.
now good. So now you send this. You go, okay, we'll send you those 4 guys. Cody Bellinger, who's not been himself, but we know what his value can be.
Yeah, we've seen it.
So he's a guy that's going to play right away, and he's going to add to you. And then maybe a Max Muncy, maybe a Justin Turner, kind of an older guy,
Yeah.
but he's still going to add you value for the next 2-3 years. And I would be very surprised if the Dodgers said no to that. I don't know how many other teams can offer a better deal than that.
Yeah.
If you think Yankees, okay, you send whoever their farm is, 3 or 4 of their guys.
Yeah.
Then what? John Carlos? You're not sending Judge.
Yeah. Yeah. Judge is your franchise.
You send if you're trying to.
Maybe
I'm
like a
thinking of
Rizzo?
I'm thinking like
Maybe
an
like a
outfielder.
Rizzo?
An outfielder that you're gonna have to definitely replace because I would assume the Nationals would want an outfielder back. Rizzo would be a good person to send, but he's not going to be around forever. But you send John Carlos, maybe Aaron Hicks with them, and then Rizzo.
Does Soto play a little first?
I mean, he's only played outfield. I'm
Yeah.
sure he can learn it. He's an athletic person.
Okay.
But I mean, Joey Gallo. I mean, he's fucking awful.
Yeah.
So maybe you send them. I don't know.
It depends on how you value Joey Gallo. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he was so cool with the Rangers, and then once he got to New York, it's just like that New York media
Nope.
just ate him up.
The
And
wheels
he's a
have fallen
shell
off.
of himself
Yeah.
that he was in Texas. So maybe if you're a Nationals or GM, maybe you think
You can't get. Maybe you turn it
maybe,
around.
Maybe he's like a throw-in.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I mean, those are the 2 big market teams that I can think of. I mean, the Mets.
The Mets have a shot, but they
I
have
feel like that deal doesn't get done unless you're sending.
they have a couple guys in the farm that they could probably give up. but they'd really be in a win now mentality
Right.
if they were to do that.
Like, you would have to give up. I don't see how they don't give up Lindor.
They could give out maybe
Nemo.
Bryce Beatty, if you know who he is. He's a really big third baseman in there.
Yeah,
in
I mean, do you give up a Nemo?
You could give up Nemo.
McCann maybe. So I just think, like,
maybe
either way, it's going to be a
Diaz.
massive. We're going to see one of the biggest trades or biggest overhauls in MLB history for this guy. Whether you think he's worth it or not, that's irrelevant. He obviously can play. He plays well, but it's definitely going to be like, I just feel bad because, like you said it best, a small market team's definitely going to miss out on this.
Yeah, he's not going to the Pirates, Reds, Indians, Tigers,
Unless they have huge prospects they're willing to give up.
Yeah.
And
that's
some
not
young guys. I mean, like if you look at Cleveland, okay, you'd have to give up probably Jimenez.
Yeah, you're giving up Jimenez.
You're probably going to give up Bieber.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to probably be gone anyway, so you could probably keep him up, give him up. Maybe James and then a couple prospects, or maybe you throw in like a Naylor and get James the bullpen Krimchek, or however you say his last name.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not really going to give out an outfielder because they're not going to want any of Cleveland's outfielders because they're not that good. You're giving up some of your key members, and I don't think.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Why would Cleveland take that, right?
I mean, you're putting holes in your first base, your shortstop, just to get one good outfielder. I mean, he's an amazing outfielder. But...
Yeah, you just got to really trust your farm and what's coming up the line. So we'll be really interested to see what's going on there. I'd like to see the Astros make a play at him for not necessarily the people that I named. I wouldn't be so upset if we traded Pedro Leon just because Jeremy Pena is super young and hopefully he'll be around for a while. I'm thinking Jose Siri, Chaz McCormick. Send them along because if we get Soto, we put Soto in right field, put Kyle Tucker in center field, then that solves that issue.
Mm-hmm.
And send Yuli Gurriel and maybe one other guy and try and get I'll even take Josh Bell with that package too. I mean, he's younger, trading old first baseman for another old first baseman.
Would you guys be able to afford him? Like once he wants to resign, because you got to think of that too, because they got to resign an extension too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you only have him for a couple.
To me, the only reason you're trading all the farm and everything for him is you're definitely resigning him. You have to.
Unless you think, but that's the thing. If he can't afford him, then he's gonna have to.
Well, anybody can afford him. It's just whether you want to go over that luxury tax, go everything else. So we'll keep an eye on it. Obviously, it'll be interesting and then it'll be definitely a massive overhaul. I'll be curious to see how it turns out. And speaking of the farm, some sad news / good news. MLB settles $185 million class action lawsuit against minor league players getting paid, basically paying living wages. You've seen kind of an outpour of over the past couple of years of minor leagues players being kind of treated like shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a ton of money in minor leagues. We get that. There's money in baseball in general, but it's not like it's the NFL or the NBA where you can actually kind of take care of these practice squad guys because there's so little of them.
Mm-hmm.
Minor league, you have 3 or 4 teams in each organization.
Yeah. That
you have to try and keep a facility, keep a team, make sure they travel, all that stuff. So I get it's a lot harder. But you saw one guy. I mean, Rob Manfred obviously is one of the worst commissioners in all of sports. But he was like, I think that we pay a living wage, whatever. And he was like, oh, it's $11,000. One guy tweeted out, he's like, I made $11,000 last year. Like, that's not a living wage.
No.
So it's big kind of a win for them. I know that the past couple of years you've seen some huge wins for them in the sense of travel, where they're staying, and some of the locker room updates and all that stuff. So that's good. But I feel like it's really nice to see some of these minor league guys getting paid what they deserve because at the end of the day, they are what's keeping these teams afloat. Maybe you get rid of a AA team or you get rid of the AA, AAA.
You have 2 single A. You have high A, low A.
Right. Yeah. Maybe you get rid of one of those.
You probably don't need all those teams.
Yeah. Disperse that talent however you want. Maybe expand a roster to like an extra 2 or 3 spots for AA, AAA.
Mm-hmm.
And then that cuts into the pay and everything else like that. But you are still cutting into that talent, which sucks. But I don't know how the MLB is going to address that or moving forward. But it is nice to see that some of these guys are getting what they deserve and how they definitely have been deserving it. But
yeah, shout out our Clippers.
Shout out the Clippers.
Clippers getting
this
that back.
ship rocks.
Yeah.
But moving on we got our baseball talk out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
We got it out of the way. And we're going to talk a little bit of golf here.
Ooh,
But before we get to the golf, we cannot forget to bring up Pita Abilities.
Man.
The best food that you can get on a pita. I'm talking gyro. I'm talking chicken with any sauce, anything you want. Made it. You want barbecue chicken? They got it.
Mm-hmm.
You want buffalo chicken? They got it.
Man,
You want chicken shawarma, tikka masala? I'm telling you what, teriyaki chicken? They got it. If you don't like meat, they've got falafel, rice bowls, salad. They've got everything. And their dessert, Senna chips, I know that's one of your favorite things.
Oh, man, let me tell you about those.
Who doesn't love the Senna chips, right?
They're
So
incredible.
shout out Pete Abilities.
And they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
You know why? They're a food truck. And they have a brick and mortar store in Old Hilliard, Ohio at the Crooked Can. So go feel free to check out our friends at peteabilities.com. Check it out right here, down here somewhere. And we'll obviously post that information with it as well. Check them out. Go to their website. They'll tell you where they're located for the day, for the food trucks, and obviously the brick and mortar store, always there. So make sure you check them out for the best food in Columbus, Ohio, and the best street food in the food truck industry as well.
It really is.
And they're the best.
They're the
I
best.
love them. And John loves them too. So make sure you check out our friends at Pete Abilities. And moving on from there, British Open, the Open, as Ryan would say. Cameron Smith, big W.
It was
Absolute bag secured. I think I've never been more excited to see somebody win than Cameron Smith, because if you've never seen what Cameron Smith looks like, do you know what Cameron Smith looks like? Let me pull it up, John. I'll pull up a picture of Cameron Smith.
You're really showing
I'll pull up a picture of Cameron Smith for you. He's an Australian professional golfer. You're telling me this dude right here, with the dirtiest stash, the mullet,
Mm-hmm.
the long hair, don't care.
Well,
You're telling me this guy doesn't deserve to win?
I mean,
That's America for you. I know he's Australian, but that is America personified.
that's
That guy, I
Star
have
Spangled
seen,
Banner if
I
I've ever
have
seen
golfed
one.
against that guy, or seen that guy on several golf courses this year with a Coors Light and a dart in his mouth. You cannot tell me that dude's not smoking Marble Reds, right? I'm talking Mavericks. I'm talking Pall Mall Menthols. I'm talking Camel Soft Packs, Virginia Slims,
Oh man,
Mystics, American Spirits Blue, to be specific. You're not telling me that guy's not smoking those.
oh yeah.
Newport Menthols. But that is the reason I'm happy Cameron Smith won. That guy, it looks like the most average Joe golfer, but he won with a, correct me if I'm wrong there, Ryan, he shot 20 under to win, and Rory shot 19, correct? Or 18?
Yeah, he shot 20.
Shot 20.
Rory shot 18.
Yeah, so shot 20 under, which is really good. But that course, I think, kind of plays more friendly, Ryan, would you say, to the golfer? It's a little shorter. I know the wind wasn't, I know that the weather it has always been a factor, and the factor this year was pretty tame. But you can drive like 3 or 4 holes to get eagles. I think everybody on 18 was putting for eagles.
That
Not necessarily making them, but they're getting themselves
this
45.
year was a very weird year when it came to the scores.
And for those that don't know, this course is basically sitting on an ocean front,
Yeah.
right?
Right. And
Right.
it means the home golf. It's the oldest course ever. It's literally the home.
I mean, it's not as old as a course that we'll bring up later in the show, but go on.
Anyway, but yeah, they had some really low scores. The weather didn't really affect too much at all, which was insane. And like I think remember last year or maybe the year before, like the winning scores were like 5, 7 under.
Mhm.
This year was like 20.
Right.
So,
And 5 and 7 under over 4 days, like that's not
yeah,
very good.
It's typically a really hard course. Not as hard as like U.S. Opens, but yeah.
I mean, for
this year was
being-
really weird.
For the oldest course, John, and I know you were talking to me about this before the podcast. For being the oldest course in basically all of golf, they haven't really updated necessarily. Like I said, they haven't moved the tee boxes back or changed the course a whole around because of the history that it has and because of how much weather it plays. Because like I said, you could drive 2 or 3 holes on that course.
They don't water anything.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't.
And you could see that it was burnt. It was pretty burnt up.
They-
But it's also
they-
still cold there too.
They think the golf course should be played as naturally as possible. Now they might water the greens a little bit,
Right.
but they cut basically everything except for some heather patches. They cut everything like a fairway, and obviously besides the
Green and tee box.
besides the green tees.
So, I mean, definitely the course definitely plays more of that old natural, and I think that's the way they keep it. I kind of like it for that reason. They try and keep it as, like Ryan said, natural as possible, old school as possible. That's definitely one thing that I like to keep, and I like the history of that as well. So, I thought it was a really fun tournament to watch this year. I was rooting for Cam. He's finished like top 3, top 2 several times. No, he's won a few tours this year, right? A few opens this year.
He won the
Players.
The players.
Zalatoris, right? Or
Zalatoris.
he's the one that keeps coming in second.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that I really want to win. Because I swear there's been like 3 tournaments in a row. He's coming like second where I'm like, damn, this dude fucking can't buy it. He can't get it. But Cam Smith, he's definitely gonna look at him to finally jump to number 1 if he hasn't already. He's definitely gonna be up there. He won the players, he won this, and he's obviously finishing in top 5 or 6 is pretty consistently. So look him to jump to number 1, but his putting, disgusting.
Yeah.
And he also said that 2 beers can fit in the trophy, so he's hoping that he can have at least 3 or 4 trophies.
Didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
Good to know.
So now you know. Now you know.
Once I win the British Open,
Yeah, oh yeah. And John's gonna be trying out next year, so make sure we keep
beat me
tapped
on the
into that.
course. Beat me at
St. Andrews. St. Andrews. That's the British Open, right?
I was gonna say.
Wait, we're gonna get to that later.
Okay, catch me there though.
Catch you there.
Yeah, catch me. There.
But let's get into some soccer talk. I'm wearing my crew.
You are.
We beat Cincinnati. The hell is real. Challenge or little interstate rivalry that we have because Cincinnati finally moved up to the MLS. They were in the USL for a couple years, for obviously a while. But MLS, season's coming into the halfway point here. We're getting close down to the wire. And both conferences are obviously really tight and really, really nitty gritty here. But the Crew have a huge new signing that we signed, that we mentioned a couple weeks ago. Chucho Hernandez signed him for a club record $10 million, and he has been worth every fucking penny. He has played now a full 90 total minutes plus for us. He has 4 goals. He has 4 goals in total of 90 minutes. He's played in 3 games, but he came off the bench in 2 of them and then started for us this past game. And he's played just over 90 plus minutes, and he has 4 goals. He is doing everything that we've asked for him. And John, you cannot deny how great of a signing he was. And he's putting, honestly, the Eastern Conference on notice, wouldn't you say?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, he's definitely helped out the Crew.
Oh, for sure.
It was looking pretty down for the Crew from what I heard. Is that 8 draws?
That is 8
so
draws.
They've tied 8 times.
Yeah. We are only behind Philadelphia in draws with 9. Philly has 9. Now, they have the most points because they have 10 wins, 9 draws, and we only have 7 wins and 8 draws, right?
I didn't realize the MLS had that many teams. I thought it was.
yeah.
Did they just grow a lot?
Dude, they've grown. So,
Obviously,
brief history. So, over the past probably 10 years, we've added Montreal, Orlando, Cincinnati. Charlotte is this year. This is their inaugural season. Inter Miami and I think New York City. Like the original 10 was like Crew, DC United, Toronto, Chicago, I think New England, and Philly's a new team too. So it's definitely growing crazy. And there's going to be 2 more expansion teams coming as well.
Oh wow!
I think they're thinking that St. Louis is going to get a team, and I think the team in Sacramento. Maybe.
So what? We're going to be up to 30? Is there 14 in the West?
Yeah, there's 14 in the West, and there's 14 in the East. So look for that. I mean, Austin, the 2 seed in the West right now, and they were a brand new team last year, right? That's who the Crew almost were. Okay. So the MLS is definitely growing, and it's definitely getting, and you're seeing, and that's something that's really exciting, obviously for being a soccer fan like myself, but I just definitely see that you can see that there is a market for professional soccer in the United States, especially because now you're signing players like you are overseas, $10 million, Chucho Hernandez. But he has been phenomenal for the Crew. The Crew are definitely, I think, taking really important strides. We just let go of Miguel Berry, traded him to DC United for $325,000 in cash considerations. Crazy move in the sense that I really liked him. It's sad to see him go, but you brought in Chucho for a reason. You don't really need him anymore. And you got money back for him. So we wish Miguel the best of luck. John and I were saying sayonara to you, buddy. We'll miss you. We love you, and we appreciate everything you've done for Columbus. So do you want to say anything to Miguel?
Maybe pick a better sport.
He didn't get cut. He got traded, damn it.
Maybe try out for basketball.
Yes. But the Crew are looking really good right now. Hopefully they can get another win here or 2, keep this streak going. But definitely a lot of exciting stuff happening for the Crew and MLS in general. The conferences and everything is a tight fucking window right now. It's a lot of fun. But before we get to Ryan's 2-minute drill, we want to talk about our next sponsor. and you love him.
Oh,
And
yeah.
John, I believe you said catch you out at it. Where am I going to catch you at, John?
You're gonna catch me at National Road practicing to make this British Open next year.
Yes, because National Golf Course is the course to start. It is off Route 40, just outside of West Jefferson, Ohio, and they've got everything. They've got simulators indoors.
Mm-hmm.
It's pissing rain outside right now.
Yeah,
I could still be sharpening my game right now.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, winter season, it's fucking cold. Guess what? Still simulators. They're there.
They're
They've
there.
got driving range. They got chipping putting. They've got the actual golf course itself. If you're not great, and John, I don't think you're very good.
No, but I'm gonna get to this British Open because of the simulators.
National Road
at
Golf Course.
Golf course.
The simulators, the chipping and putting, the driving range. I'm not that good either. But this course makes me feel good because it's a very intermediate level course. And you can definitely grow, you can definitely learn and sharpen your game without losing too many balls and getting too frustrated. And you can play the course honestly in like 2 hours and 40 minutes. 18 holes in sub 3 hours, that's pretty great turnover.
Not bad.
So make sure you check out our friends at National Road Golf Course, Route 40, West Jefferson, Ohio. Be there, be square. Make sure you tell friends that we sent you there. All right, maybe they might give you a little something. I don't know.
A little wink and a snap.
Little wink and snap. But
Finger gun.
did you use finger guns?
That's what they're gonna do.
Oh,
They're gonna give you a finger gun and a wink.
they're gonna give you finger guns and a wink. So make sure you check out our friends there. We really do appreciate them for sponsoring the pod as well. And Ryan, whenever you're ready, are you ready? Look, before we get started, I got something to say.
Yes,
John, we didn't make it last week.
we didn't. We
It was
like,
just two of us. We
and
got
we were-
crushed.
and we were,
Partially my
Partially your fault. It was? Okay, good. Then I feel less bad. Yeah, fuck you, Ryan. You suck.
but we were still 30 seconds over. We can't put this all on Ryan.
Right, we can't.
We
put
have
it
to
on.
step up. This is on us.
This is gonna be our week. Look, we'll get it done.
We gotta take accountability. Hand
Or-
up. Hey, hand up. That was us.
Boy Scout honor.
Yeah, Boy
Scouts
Scout
honor.
honor.
I'm not a scout, but Scouts honor.
Oh no, we're scouts.
All right, fucking talk to me.
All right, we're ready.
We have him on the podcast.
Oh no! Stop it!
Is he
Ryan,
ready?
whenever you're ready, get us going here.
1 second. We'll talk afterwards.
All right. Count down.
All right.
Miles Bridges faces felony domestic violence charges. How stupid is this guy?
Dude, you're an NBA player getting paid millions of dollars. You're about to get a max contract for somebody. Now you get nothing, and you might never play again.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Bad guy. He just can't.
Yeah,
be
he also deserves it.
Yeah,
Like,
bad
you
guy.
fucking
He can't
stop.
be hitting women.
Or kids.
Yeah.
Just kids too.
Oh, it's kids.
Go
too.
on. Yeah, go on. I don't want to talk about him.
Women's national soccer team wins the CONCACAF.
CONCACAF tournament. Yeah, I mean, huge fucking dub.
How long does this dynasty continue?
I mean, as long as U.S. continues to pour money like over other countries, like other countries just aren't putting money into women's sports as much as we do. So as long as we keep doing that, we'll fucking reign.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I know those Guanins are really coming up here.
James Harden signed with the Sixers for 2 years, $68.6 million. Is this a good move for the Sixers?
I think if you get the best version of James Harden back, which I think is long gone, it'll be a great move. But I don't know.
That is a tough one. I mean, we'll see. I like James Harden on the Sixers. I think he can maybe rebound.
He just
a little bit.
needs to get back to himself.
I think he's trash. Anyway, next, the Cavs revealed new uniforms, which I have on the screen right now. How do we feel about them?
A little bland. I mean,
I'll
they're
go for you,
not
John.
a little bland. I think you need some more like stripes in them somewhere. Nothing too crazy, but they're just literally nothing. They're colored. They're just
Yeah.
colors.
I kind of agree. I feel like they're going with that modern, simplistic look, and I think sometimes that's not as good.
Right.
Same thing with like Utah, not as good. But go on.
Yeah, they're
All right. We got 15 seconds left. Manti Te'o doc is hitting Netflix. Are we going to watch it?
I'm gonna be tapped into this.
I'm gonna be tapped in too, and I know, and that's my final answer on that. So we get into 2-minute drill. But the reason I want to be tapped into it is because I remember this being like a big fucking thing.
This was
I was in
2012. This was huge.
7th grade.
We're in 8th because it's like 2012.
We were in high school 2014, so
Yeah.
2013 would be our 8th grade year, right?
Yeah, it was 2012-13, but the football season would have been 2012.
I just remember being
Yeah.
in one of our teachers in grade school was a big Notre Dame fan, and I remember sitting there and being like, "Fucking girlfriend doesn't exist." And I don't know why we were roasting her for it, but we were like, "Haha, your star linebacker doesn't have a real girlfriend." So I'll be curious to see like how this whole thing, because that was a big deal. Like, you're making Sports Center news highlights for this.
I mean, that was huge. I mean, he was we only had 3, I think, candidates go to New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony, and being a defensive player, being one of those 3, I mean, that was huge at the time. Notre Dame, undefeated regular season, ended up getting drilled in the national championship. But that was,
Of course, but nothing new.
nothing new. But that was huge at the time, and especially growing up in Catholic schools at the time,
Right.
like every Notre Dame fan you knew, you just dogged him.
You had
dogged
to.
him for
You
this.
had to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was so funny. So I'll be tapped into it.
I'll
But,
be tapped in for sure.
thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. As always, check us out on Spotify, and if you're not listening to us on Spotify, check us out on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow us, do all the things that you can. Like, get the notifications, be tapped in like we are tapped into other things. Be a friend, tell a friend, share with a friend, and we hope you guys have a fantastic week. We can't wait to talk to you next week about what's going on in the sports world. John, you got anything to say to the people?
Shout out Julius Palazzo.
Shout out Palazzo's Plate. He's our guy. Concession stands, top-notch food. Ryan, you got anything to say to people before we go? You got nothing? Wow, real riveting shit back there.
Go Smite.
Go Smite, D2. Right?
Yeah.
D2. All right, well, all I got to say is we appreciate you, we love you, and we'll see you next week. Peace.